really important day, and for us to celebrate both our school and the world around us. For the 7th year in a row, we are celebrating International Women's Day at Burke's. Kindergartners have only been here a couple months, and they're very excited. I can feel it. As a girls' school whose mission is to educate, encourage, and empower girls. See that up there? I hope that every time we come in the gym we look at that, because I know I do. I love it. That's why I come to school every day. It is only fitting that we hold an assembly, that we all come together to take the opportunity to honor women who have come before us, who have chartered paths and put themselves forwards in their fields in the past and in the present. So hopefully you in the future will do the same. That's just kind of the one little thought I want to give you today. We are really lucky. We have a woman named Miss Shauna Tellerman who's going to come and talk to us a little bit about her life and what she does and her background. And she's a really, really interesting woman. She's an artist, she's a businesswoman, she's done all kinds of really fascinating things. She's right there. I can see everyone looking over. Give a wave. We're going to hear from her later in the morning. It's really exciting. But when you listen to her and you ask her questions, I want you to think not only and be inspired by her and her life, but to try to imagine yourselves in the future. To think about the women that you're going to become, the exceptional women and the kind of extraordinary, really special things that you will do. Because when I look out at this audience, when I look out at all 400 of you, I'm really inspired because I know great things are going to happen. I know the possibilities are boundless. So think about that. Think about the possibilities for yourself. Get excited about that. Get excited about being a girl and about being a girl and eventually being a really important woman. So thank you, Shauna, for coming. We have an incredible program this morning that I'm really excited about, but I'm going to do what we do at Burke's. We're going to hand it over to the Burke's girls to run the program. So our youth voice moderators, Rebecca and Annika, are going to come up and take over the show. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to the 7th Annual International Women's Day Assembly, which we are thrilled to be hosting as your moderators.
This morning, we have a great assembly jam-packed with a public speech about a courageous woman, a presentation from our 6th grade Explore Vision Regional Award winners, and a special guest speaker.
International Women's Day was created to advance women's rights. Historically, life for women was very challenging because we didn't have the right to vote and didn't have the same rights that men shared. In March of 1908, 15,000 women marched through the streets of New York City in order to bring attention to the inequality and oppression they faced each day. This protest led to a more formalized march the following year, which gradually evolved into International Women's Day.
Eventually, this newly founded celebration of women spread worldwide, and there were many articles written to spread the word. These articles all stated that women should be granted equal rights. The meetings started getting larger and larger, and the voice of women was finally being heard. International Women's Day was officially recognized by the United Nations in 1975, and many governments around the world have adopted this tradition.
Today, we celebrate International Women's Day as a way to remember this historic event and to honor women all around the world, many of whom do not enjoy the basic right and freedom that we do in the United States.
Each year, 7th graders present a speech in an upper school assembly. They are charged with finding a topic they are interested in, and then researching, writing, and preparing their delivery. This year, Sophia Augusta volunteered to speak at this assembly. So please welcome Sophia!
Women were not expected or given the opportunity to receive an education, get a fair, well-paying job, or even vote. I am against discrimination and lack of rights for any minority, but unfortunately, in the late 1800s to early 1900s, there is a great deal of discrimination against women. Hi, my name is Sophia, and I'm here to familiarize you with discrimination against women in the 18 to 1900s, and one of the amazing and courageous women who overcame discrimination. During this time, women had no say in society. Considered inferior to men, they were expected to listen, stay quiet, clean, and take care of their children. Women did not even have the right to join the military. It wasn't until 1920 that women were given the right to vote in the United States. In 1921, they were finally given the right, by law, to study law. Although women had a rough journey to get equal rights, and even if today women are not completely equal to the status of men, I am confident it will be so in the near future. One woman who defied expectation and the law in the 20th century was Amelia Mary Earhart, born on July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas. During her youth, Amelia enjoyed playing outside. The self-proclaimed tomboy rode her sled, climbed trees, and even hunted rats with a gun. She went to 6 different high schools, and finally graduated from Hyde Park High School in 1915. After high school, she attended Ogden's Finishing School, located outside the city of Philadelphia. She left school after 2 years and became a nurse's assistant at Spadina Military Hospital in Toronto to help the wounded in World War I. Later, she went to college and became a social worker. Amelia saw her first airplane at age 10 and was not impressed. It wasn't until almost 10 years later, when she saw an air show, that her interest in planes and flying was sparked. She had her first flying lesson on January 3, 1921, at age 24, from a woman named Netta Snook. She bought her first plane, a used 2-seated plane nicknamed the Canary, 6 months later. One day at work, Amelia got a phone call from a man asking if she'd like to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. She immediately agreed, and on June 17, 1928, she set off. 21 hours later, she landed in Buryport, Wales. After that first world record, Amelia's life revolved around flying. Later, she won a bronze at the Cleveland Women's Air Derby, or Powder Puff Derby. Will Rogers was the man who had reached out to her to ask if she would like to fly across the Atlantic. They became friends and eventually got married on February 7, 1931. When Amelia was almost 30, in 1937, she decided it was time to make a monumental achievement, and one that she thought would, and did, change her life forever. She wanted to be the first woman to fly around the world. After much planning, Amelia Earhart set off on July 1st from Miami, Florida. She made a fuel stop in Lae, Papua New Guinea, after almost 30 days of flying. After she took off again with her navigator, Fred Noonan, Amelia planned to land on Howard Island. There was a boat offshore the island to be her radio contact. The flight was going well until the next morning as they were nearing their destination. The boat sent signals to warn her of the weather, but Amelia and her navigator did not receive most of them, and the ones they did receive were hard to understand. They tried sending signals back, but the boat got bits and pieces and could not understand. After many difficult and confusing back and forth transmissions, the boat heard one last clear radio signal. "We are running north and south," and that was the last the world heard from Amelia Mary Earhart. Immediately, a search and rescue attempt commenced. The United States spent almost $4 million searching for Amelia Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan. but Amelia and her navigator were never found. There are many theories about what happened to the pair, but the most well-known is that they and their plane sunk in the Pacific Ocean. No matter what happened to this world-renowned pilot, one thing is certain. What Amelia Earhart left behind, a realization that if you put your mind to do something, you can do anything, will have a lasting effect on the world and me forever. As Amelia Earhart once said, adventure is worthwhile in and of itself. Thank you.
Learning about Amelia Earhart, who's definitely a courageous woman. And we know it took a lot of courage just being in front of the whole school today. Now, we would like to ask Mr. Harms to come to the podium to tell us about the 6th grade science class Explore Vision project. Mr. Harms.
Good morning. My name is Mr. Harms. I teach 5th and 6th grade science here at Burke. And you may remember last year at this assembly, I got to share some very exciting news that the 6th graders have been working on a project related to science and technology, and that we had 7 out of our 13 teams receive honorable mentions, putting them as some of the leaders in the country. In fact, we had more honorable mentions than any other school, anywhere, at any grade level throughout the entire United States. It was pretty The project is a national project in which about 5,000 teams compete each year. And the challenge is for girls to think about a technology that exists today and think about what that technology might be like 25 years into the future. When the girls are trying to come up with their technology, one of the instructions that I give them is that if they share their idea with someone and that person says, "That's impossible," that's a pretty big success. Unfortunately, we don't know the honorable mention winners this year, but we do have some other very exciting news that one of my 6th grade teams is going to share with you today. I'd like to invite Laurel, Emma, Avery, and Grace up to share a little bit about their project.
Good morning. My name is Laurel Dettering, one of the members of the Remind team. Our team decided to develop a technology to help people with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is a disease that causes someone's brain to gradually stop working, starting with memory loss, but later leading to impairments in speech, movement, and all other life functions. Alzheimer's cannot be cured, stopped, or even slowed. While the numbers of deaths due to cancer, heart disease, and AIDS is decreasing, Alzheimer's is not. The number of Alzheimer's-related deaths continues to grow every year, with 1 out of 3 senior citizens being affected with this disease and a new American being diagnosed with the disease every 68 seconds. New treatments are desperately needed to help people living with Alzheimer's maintain their memory. Our group worked to help tackle this challenge.
Hello, my name is Emma Ragati. Our work to help people with Alzheimer's led us to our invention called Remind. There are 2 parts to our invention. The first helps diagnose Alzheimer's or helps a person know if they have Alzheimer's so that they can get help and treatment. If the disease is common in a person's family, he or she can choose to have the Remind chip implanted behind his or her ear. The chip has wires that act like a neuron, storing a person's memories over time. Basically, it records the data of your life, memories, faces, events, and so on.
Good morning. I am Avery Arcuri. The Remind chip continues to store devices throughout a person's life. If he or she is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, the person's doctor can have the chip send information to a pair of Google Glass that the person is wearing. The Google Glass is a wearable computer. There is a small display screen over one of your eyes that can display information. The Remind chip works with the Google Glass to process what is going on in the person's life. If he or she forgets something, the Remind chip will notice that and send the memory to the Google Glass screen. For example, someone with Alzheimer's disease may see a message like, "That's your friend Karen. She lives here in San Francisco." Or, "This is your friend This is your daughter, Susan. She's your youngest daughter. Working with Google Glass, the Remind chip will help by recognizing faces and delivering information to the wearer.
Hello, I'm Grace Lander, the fourth member of the Remind team. Last week, we received some very exciting news about our technology. We found out that we were one of the 6 regional winners in the Explorer Vision project in our grade division. This means that our project was recognized as the top project in the 4th through 6th grade age division west of the Rockies. We are excited, but now we have more work ahead of us. As finalists, our next step is to create a website that showcases our technology. Our finished work will be judged against the other regional finalists. 2 out of these 6 projects will be selected as national winners, receiving $5,000 to $10,000 savings bonds and a trip to Washington, D.C. with our families and teachers. We are busy at work on the next part of the competition and will keep you updated. Thank you.